From using her psychic abilities on various talk shows to falsely predicting the age of her own death, Sylvia Browne and her prophecies were nonetheless believed by many. Her abilities to see in the future by sensing certain energies created an audience of people wanting answers to their life's misfortunes. Some of her earlier appearances would even see her making predictions about Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's marriage, but we all know how that turned out.
How about Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman? They're cute.
They're cute, and I think that they're fun for each other, and I think they're going to make it. And I'll tell you why, because she's a real strong woman.
On the same program, she'd even claimed to see dead people in the audience. Holy f***, someone call M Night Shyamalan.
I see dead people.
She would even predict that a woman would have twins, with the lady almost fainting to Sylvia's revelation.
And also, can you tell if I'm capable of having children?
Mm-hmm, yes. I don't know where the twins are coming from, but you could have.
Oh my God!
Let me help you sit down. Here, let me help you. Just take my hand. Yeah. She came from getting rid of her boyfriend to having twins.
Her forecastings wouldn't stop there. She once reacted to some UFO footage on the Montel Williams Show in which she claimed that those particular beings weren't there to harm the person who took the footage.
All right, take a look, Sylvia. What do you think?
Yeah, that is a UFO. God knows, because, Mercy, I did have a UFO experience. You know, I talk about it in my book. But they're not there to hurt you, honey. There's nothing demonic about those. See, this is what we call extraterrestrial. And, you know, all they're here to do is just see how we're taking care of the planet, which must make them really depressed.
Or how about the time she told a desperate mother in search of her daughter that she was no longer with us, only to be rescued 10 years later by this man.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway.
Charles, thank you very much.
Dead giveaway.
She even told an audience member on Montel that their relative who died on 9/11 drowned in the towers. Was this person serious? Or was it all one big profitable show? How was this lady able to see into everyone's future so seamlessly? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Scotch. Grab your crystal skulls and chakras in order to see the false predictions of Sylvia Browne. Sylvia Browne began her psychic journey as early as 1973, but would claim that her abilities happened much earlier in her life.
Please welcome our very special guest, Sylvia Browne. How long have you been doing this song?
39 years.
39 years. And when did you first realize that you were psychic?
When I first, they'd say when I was 3, but when I first began to realize it was when I was 5.
5. And I mean, what was the first realization to yourself?
I told my mother that my father was having an affair.
Not much would be heard about Sylvia in the 1970s, but would start to get some early popularity after the inception of her Gnostic church. According to their website, in April 1986, Sylvia Browne embarked upon the most important chapter of her life. She founded a spiritual organization called Society of Novus Spiritus. The decision was a natural extension of her love for God and for all of humanity. The earliest footage of Sylvia dates back to her appearance on San Francisco's People Are Talking on April 22, 1991, in which she predicted Bruce Willis would have 6 children with Demi Moore, and also predicted Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman would never get divorced, to which we all know what happened with that.
Just put your manners back in.
Sylvia continued to make appearances on the People Are Talking show and would even star in a paranormal program in which she investigated a California Toys R Us, and would even appear in the program's skit.
This is a place in which they had lost, or reportedly had lost, 6 managers. So out of desperation, they called me and said, would you please come in because we think we have a ghost. Oh, this has all the signs of a real haunting.
What exactly is a haunting?
It's spirits that don't know they're dead. You're looking for someone.
Though Browne was getting her name out there, the thing that really set Sylvia off into psychic fame would be the first time she appeared on the Montel Williams Show.
Please welcome a very special guest, Sylvia Browne.
And it wouldn't be the first time. The Montel Williams Show launched Sylvia onto other talk shows, news stations, and would go on to write over 40 books. Made countless appearances at conferences and even had a tier-level seating arrangement. But that's pretty much who this lady was in a nutshell. She spat out predictions like a f***ing freestyle rapper and the crowd ate it all up. On top of that, it seemed as if more than 80% of her predictions were false and the remaining 20 were probably coincidences. While these allegations of being a fraud were coming to light, it seemed as if Sylvia's popularity kept rising. Before we jump into the false predictions of Sylvia Browne, let's jump back to 1992 to an incident that the psychic herself couldn't have predicted. According to Joe Nicole in an article written for the Skeptical Inquirer, before adding an E to her surname, Sylvia Celeste Browne was involved in selling securities to a gold mining venture while failing to foresee the true consequences. The venture failed, and she and her estranged husband were subsequently indicted on several counts of investment fraud and grand theft. The criminal complaint filed in the Superior Court of Santa Clara County, California on May 26, 1992, alleged that the Browns sold securities in the venture under false pretenses. Although telling a couple their $20,000 investment was to be used for immediate operating costs, the complaint stated, the Browns transferred the money to an account for their Nirvana Foundation for Psychic Research. The documents show that Sylvia and her estranged husband Kenzel Dalzell Browne pleaded no contest to a felony charge of sale of security without permit, made restitution in the case, and received 1 year probation each. Dalzell's disposition included county jail 4 months with credit for time served of 21 days, while Sylvia's included 200 hours of community service. Now, while this may seem like it's not so important, the fact that she told audience members about the negative energies of others and sometimes advised them to leave their family members contradicted her psychic abilities. If she were able to pick up on future events, why couldn't her abilities help her foresee her own hearing and an ultimate divorce with Kenzel? Now let's begin the false predictions. In 1999, Sylvia told a grandmother that their missing granddaughter had been sold into slavery, only to find out she had been tragically slain the day of her kidnapping. The 2000s would amplify Sylvia's readings, and according to David Moy in an article for the HuffPost, in 2002, Browne told the parents of missing 11-year-old Sean Hornbeck on the Montel Williams Show that the child had perished.
Is there any kind of a description of the person driving the car?
Yeah, the guy was dark-skinned, although he wasn't black, he was more Hispanic looking. And strange enough, Hispanic, but he had dreadlocks. He's near the boulders.
Is he still with us?
Do you see the bicycle anywhere?
They turned to the Montel Williams Show and self-professed psychic Sylvia Browne for help. That's when they got the worst possible news. Browne told them their son's body could be found about 20 miles southwest of their home in a wooded area near 2 jagged boulders. But Sean Hornbeck was found alive in Michael Devlin's apartment about 50 miles northeast of their home. His parents will never forget the pain they say Sylvia Browne caused them.
Now, Sylvia's reading of Sean Hornbeck was completely wrong in every aspect of it. In the same year, she would psychically read 2 sisters who were looking for their mother who had been missing since the year 2000.
And no one's heard from her since?
It's been a little over a year.
So, in other words, she disappeared. Okay, who saw her now? Tell me who saw her.
I saw her. Me and him saw her.
See, she's not dead. She's not dead.
It turns out that Linda McClelland would be taken from this world by her son-in-law, who I believe was actually in the audience. In a comprehensive study titled Psychic Defective, Sylvia Browne's History of Failure, out of 115 of her readings, the author would confirm 25 of those readings as false, with the remaining 90 having yet been confirmed. Sylvia would not only lie to her audience's faces, but whenever she was wrong, she'd switch the story in her favor.
I lost my boyfriend tragically a few years ago. They never found him. And I've had such a hard time since.
The reason why you didn't find him is because he's in water. And to find him in water, it's like the girl that's missing in Aruba. You can't find somebody.
Well, it was September 11th. There was no, he was a fireman, but...
Well, no, see, I keep seeing him in water. Is there any way he could have drowned in water, some way?
They never found a piece of him. Nothing.
From 9/11.
Though Sylvia Browne was wrongly predicting these people's lives, one of her most famous predictions would ultimately prove Browne was scamming people for financial profit.
You heard screaming.
Heard screaming. I meet my McDonald's. I come outside. I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. So we kick the bottom, and she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911. My name is Amanda Berry."
One of the most false predictions Sylvia Browne has ever made was in 2004 to the face of the grieving mother of Amanda Berry, according to the ABC News. A year after Amanda Berry disappeared in Cleveland, her mother appeared on the Montel Williams Show to speak to a psychic about what happened to her daughter. Psychic Sylvia Browne told Luana Miller on a 2004 episode of the show that her daughter had passed, causing Miller to break down in tears on the show's set. "She's not alive, honey," Browne told Miller on the show. According to the Cleveland Plain Dealer newspaper, "Your daughter's not the kind who wouldn't call." Miller told a newspaper that she believed 98% in what Browne told her. Miller would pass a year later from heart failure. In 2013, with the help of Charles Ramsey, Amanda Berry would make a daring escape from the home of kidnapper Ariel Castro, to which Sylvia remained silent about her false reading almost 10 years earlier.
Almost 9 years ago, Amanda Berry's mom went on the Montel Williams Show, where resident psychic Sylvia Browne spoke of Amanda.
I don't think I'll ever see her again. Yeah, in heaven, on the other side.
November 2013 would mark the date of Sylvia's death, with her own prediction of her passing being completely wrong. Many accuse Sylvia of performing cold reading, which are a set of techniques used by mentalists, psychics, fortune tellers, and mediums. Cold readings commonly employ high probability guesses, quickly picking up on signals as to whether their guesses are in the right direction or not, then emphasizing and reinforcing chance connections and quickly moving on from missed guesses. Her false predictions would rank up a net worth of $3 million a year, and a writer for The Guardian, John Ronson, would attend one of Sylvia's past cruises, to which he stated, "The audience listens politely. For all the times Sylvia gets things psychically wrong, which she does a lot, she still has an enormous following. Hundreds of people have paid thousands of dollars each to be cruising with her this week. This is in part because if you want to pay $750 to have a 30-minute telephone reading with her, there's a waiting list of 4 years." The fact that Sylvia gave false readings and never apologized for them is clear indication that she used these desperate audiences for her personal agendas.